Hey, it's Ubu, and today we're playing the demo for a game called Poolside Vigil. It's developed by Glare Games, it's self-published, and you can find the game on Steam. And if you're not familiar with my channel, at the end of the video, I will review the game, share my general thoughts, give it my final judgment, and I will have timestamps in the description. This game really caught my eye recently on my long list of games that is ever-expanding, things I want to play and showcase and review, and of course, I really enjoy liminal space games, especially seeing ones trying to put a bit of a different spin on the subject matter or their approach in general, and this one really fascinated me, so I figured we'd try it out. Well, let me tell you a little bit about the game and we'll get started. Immerse yourself in a Backrooms-inspired Poolrooms horror based on a true story. Navigate ever-changing liminal spaces, solve physics-based puzzles, and survive the entity on your trail. Experience the grim consequences of phone addiction. Can you solve the mystery of that fateful day? Well, now that you know what the game is about, we'll go ahead and click log in, I guess, and see what's up. So, okay, number 1, the idol you built. We have story survival, which is maze-like rooms, mysterious entity, and asthma attacks. Complete the story to unlock further chapters. Can you find the exit? We have luck or loop, 50-50 chance. Pick the right door to escape or get looped back. Beware of the entity, asthma attacks, and limited battery. We have exploration, maze-like rooms with no entities or asthma attacks. Use your battery to explore the atmosphere. Can you find the exit? And maze master, we have entities, asthma, and a brutal mind-breaking maze. Every breath counts. Most players fail in minutes. Are you a true maze master? Honestly, I'm in the mood for just the exploration side of things today, so that's what we're going to do and just sort of check out the environment and see what lies in wait, I suppose. So, exploration. This is a very interesting screen here. A little jumpy. This is like Bandai Namco screen. God. Whoa. Okay. Here are controls on the wall here. Move carefully. Interact. Physics. Hold and release. Click for focus. Middle mouse button, that is. Scroll for physics, zoom in and out. Oh, what the? Crouch. Run. Light. Jump. Inventory. The Silent Witness, a dirty, peeling plastic body left behind while a father was lost in a screen. Now it's just a cold, dusty reminder of a duty ignored, completely useless without a fresh canister. Okay. AI disrupt. Alrighty then, I guess we'll explore then now, I suppose. What in the world? Why does that pop up when I scroll? Hold. I see. Okay. We're learning. Okay. Whatever. Pretty weird introduction, to be honest, but that's okay. X marks the spot. Can't go in there. Gotcha. Air. Wave your hands in the air. What in the heck? Okay, we got a ladder. We're gonna turn our head all the way around climbing down a ladder. Alright, let me off. I was gonna look at that. This is weird. What's in there? Can't open the bottom. I don't understand the ear-piercing scream button that we have. Or even what these statues are doing. Alright. Looks like the Super Smash Brothers symbol in front of us there. It's kind of funny. Whatever that's called. Got a fan. My biggest fan. Ha ha ha. Never mind. I'm a little thrown off today. I'm trying to ease into this. Ooh. Can we make it through this? I'm not sure we can. Ooh. All right, we got a ball. This one's much slower. Like all liminal space games, I'm just kind of picking a direction and going with it. So we'll see what happens. It's a pretty serious ladder. We could sprint down the ladder. Okay, good. It is so freaking bright in here. Interesting. What? SOS. Save our souls. I think she said help. I'm not really sure. Alright, we can look in those for some reason. Nice. Throw some stuff around. That's good. I guess. Alright, here we go. Let's go check this out. I say it all the time, but, you know, I just like seeing people's different approach to liminal space games. It's definitely that the medium of liminal spaces has just so much variety to it. So many ways people approach it. I don't know what I'm hearing. Sounds like something scurrying around in the walls. Something like that. I don't know where I've found myself, but some kind of strange tunnel system. I don't know if I finished my point, but I just like seeing liminal spaces in general. People adapt them. So I can't go this way? Are you kidding me? Why not? Why can't I go this way? I don't understand. Like, here's exploration mode, but you're not allowed to go in certain places? Did I misunderstand? Like, maybe there's no... I assume there's an exit in this mode, right? I don't know, maybe we missed something, so we can go back and see if there's a different way to go. Alright, I was able to jump back up and grab this ladder that we came down. Unfortunately, I'm out of battery, so I don't have a flashlight at the moment. Tiny toy battery. Well, that's a weird coincidence. Switch. Use. Okay. Nice. I'm blocking this text on the screen like I always do. Don't worry about it. It's a big pencil. I definitely enjoy the aesthetic so far. I think it's pretty cool. Oh god, no. Oh, let me back, let me back. Okay, we'll go this way. I haven't really found any puzzles or anything yet. I assume these are just to give us batteries. Good luck. Very dark in here. I'm just trying to conserve battery. Ooh. What is this? Random hole. This looks really cool. Pretty spooky in here, not gonna lie. Alright. What is that? A butterfly! Ew. Hoping to find more batteries in here. Okay, some of them are locked for some reason. What's with this angry ball? He's looking at me. Hey. What's your problem? Hey, you a tough guy? Huh? You hiding something back here? You're weird. Yeah. Oh, that looks cool. So she's maybe guiding us? That just occurred to me. She's pointing. Play. Okay. It's a TP? Is that what you call those? Sounds right. What's that creepy thing? I don't really understand these giant blocks everywhere. Oh, we're strong. Very bouncy. Hey, you. What you looking at? Oh. He's the dad that's distracted. And he should be, you know, prepared for his daughter to have an asthma attack. What in God's name? This is crazy looking. Look at this, this whole room is moving. That's crazy. I like that. That looks really cool. There's something up there. Let's see if we can do this correctly. Gonna wait for this piece to come down. Am I standing on it? I'm scared now. I don't think this is correct. Unless the floor is invisible. I'm afraid I'm gonna fall. It's really freaking me out. Oh! Oh, this room looks really cool. I like this weird matrix effect, like green scan stuff, or whatever. Kind of looked like the Matrix code at first. Keep out. Thank you for playing. Oh, okay. As an indie developer, having you experience my game is incredibly valuable to me. To help me complete this project, the greatest support you can offer is adding it to your Steam wishlist. List on Steam. That's just a click for you, but it means the world to me. Alright. I didn't get to read all that. All right, well, I'm going to review this game, but I'm going to go with my approach today, just focusing on the exploration mode that we experienced. I'm sure there's more to see when it comes to the entity and the asthma attack sort of mechanics. And I'm sure that obviously adds a lot more dynamic appeal to the game, just having more to do and more to interact with. So I'm just going to be covering basically my first impressions of what I experienced, and I'm going to start with the visuals. And I would say visually the game is pretty solid all the way around. I don't have a problem with it personally. It has its own unique appeal to it with the odd objects populating the area, like a lot of kids' toys and plushies and stuff like that, which I think obviously ties into the overarching theme of like parents, being distracted and, letting things happen to their children, or unfortunate instances like that do occur on a daily basis. And I think it's interesting they're approaching that sort of subject matter in this game, and I think that shows in the visual presentation. Now, of course, it is a liminal space game, so a lot of it seems kind of jarring and sort of random, but I would still say there's some cohesion involved when it comes to having the statue of the dad standing there looking at his phone, and then it like dissolves into the daughter standing next to him. It's sort of showing like how him being distracted is almost like she's not even there. And I think that was a pretty cool way to do that. At least that's how I interpreted that. I think the water looks really good. I like the lighting especially. I think the lighting is pretty well done. It makes the world feel just that much more convincing. And I think it's pretty effective in that regard. So generally speaking, I would say the visuals are good. Now, in terms of audio I'm a little mixed on. I think the main menu, while I like how it looks, it is very, very noisy. It has this running water that you can hear in the background. Also, this sort of overbearing static that's happening. And it makes the menu honestly a little unpleasant, at least in my opinion. I just think it's too much. It's like audio overload in a way for some reason. It's just very, very noisy. And I wish it had maybe more of like an ambient approach. Maybe be a little bit more subtle on how the water sounds, and maybe just cut the static out in general, or really tone it down, because it's just like the right frequency where it's really grating for some reason. Otherwise, of course, we have our footsteps and things like that as we explore. There's some odd noises here and there from the little girl laughing, or the one that appears and points somewhere and says help or whatever. That's pretty weird, and I like that approach. I wish there was just a little bit more cohesion with the audio design in general. Of course, we're in a place where there's a lot of water, so you're going to hear water. I totally understand that. I like hearing the big fans spinning. I just wish maybe there was a little bit more ambient music or some musical tones of some kind. I guess there was, towards the end there, but of course it's all up to you and what you want to do. It's just my personal opinion today. I would say the audio design I'm just sort of mixed on in this game. I think maybe if my first impression of it wasn't sort of muddied by the main menu being so grating to me, then I probably wouldn't be so critical on the rest of the sound design, but you definitely have good bones when it comes to audio. I think it could just be adjusted a little bit to make it a little bit less harsh and more immersive in a lot of ways, and also just a little bit more calm, while also leaning on the sort of eerie emptiness of everything. And I think you can pull that off. So I would say audio across the board is just okay. Now, in terms of mechanics, I'm also kind of mixed on the mechanics. Of course, I'm just talking about the exploration side of things. I haven't done the entity mechanic or the asthma mechanic, so I'm not commenting on that at all. Just based on what I experienced, having the AI disruption button obviously probably makes more sense in survival mode, but it just being an option in this shrill scream that our character does is really kind of crazy. Obviously, I don't know what it's necessarily used for in the grand scheme of things, but just the shrill nature of it is just very unpleasant, and I feel like if that's something you would do quite often in survival mode, I could probably wear a lot of people's patience really thin having to listen to that. So there's probably a different way you could approach that. I'm not sure what you would do, but maybe just have some sort of static burst, or mechanical digital sound of some kind, or maybe more vocal, like hey, or something, like trying to disrupt it with just calling it out or something, whatever you're using it for. That's more of a personal nitpick, but I just thought it was a bit odd. Other than that, you explore the environment. You can pick up objects which I assume in the other game modes that there will be puzzles and environmental interactions that you have to do. Exploration mode is probably a little too linear in terms of I just expected maybe more puzzles or more gameplay from the other modes just with monsters turned off. I'm not necessarily holding that against the game. That's just my point of view. I just don't know if from what I experienced, if the levels feel too linear in some ways. I just maybe expected it to be more random, maybe a little bit more expansive in some ways. Maybe it was just random chance that my level just was easy to explore. I did read on the Steam page that levels are procedurally generated in some ways, so maybe if I tried it again, it would be different, which I think would be great. I'm just not sure about that. Of course, we have our flashlight, which I think is pretty cool. It's a weird little goofy phone thing, little kid phone, and I think that was pretty cool, kind of cute, and made these weird little noises when you would open it up, and I like that. Just thought it was cool. A little charm to it. Aside from that, I'm not sure if anything mechanically necessarily stood out to me, which isn't a big deal. Like I said, this is just the exploration mode, so I guess I expected just a liminal space experience, and that's what this was. We got to explore, look around this weird environment, interact with the environment here and there. Maybe I wish there was just a little bit more in terms of puzzles and whatnot in this game at least, and overall I would say the mechanics are good. I feel like I kind of rambled there and didn't make a lot of sense, but I hope you get what I'm saying. Now onto the story. I would say the story is pretty solid. I like the idea of focusing on something that I think is pretty relevant nowadays, especially in the dystopian nightmare that we live in. Just kidding. But the idea of trying to encapsulate being distracted by our technology can lead to, such as, oh, I didn't change out my daughter's asthma inhaler and she died because of it or something, like crazy stuff like that. It happens like all the time. There's the idea of also people being on autopilot, they call it, and if one little thing distracts them while in autopilot, it can lead to further disasters like throughout the day, like forgetting to turn off the oven or something and burning your house down or something like that, and you could just be distracted all day thinking about where's my phone, where's my phone, where's my phone, and then, you know, uh-oh, my house is burned down because that's all I was thinking about all day. That's probably a more extreme example of being distracted by screens, but just the whole idea of like something tragic happening or something crazy happening in public, and the first reaction people have is to pull out their phone and record it rather than like jump in and help someone or save someone or something. And of course, I don't expect everyone to just be a hero either, but I like your approach to the idea of that such a simple thing can lead to something terrible, such as I'm just too busy looking at my phone, and then, uh-oh, where's my kid? Or, uh-oh, I forgot to feed them or something. Something stupid as crap like that. People do stupid crap all the time. It's ridiculous. And, got to look at that phone, got to scroll through Twitter, yada, yada, yada. And I think it's crazy. Bit of a rant there, but I like your approach to the story, and in focusing on something like that, like I said, is pretty relevant in today's age. And I think your approach to it is pretty interesting, especially throwing it into sort of a liminal space sort of environment. And I think that idea meshes pretty well with the liminal aesthetic, at least in my opinion. Obviously, in the story mode, I'm sure there's a lot more that's explained and that showcases more of your vision. Conceptually, the game is pretty solid all the way around. I like the aesthetic you're going with here. I like the approach you have to liminal spaces. Of course, it also involving some, I think, pretty relevant storytelling involving the age of being distracted constantly by something on a digital screen somewhere. Just the ad nauseum advertising or scrolling through Twitter or something. We're always doing something with some sort of technology, our phones or tablets or whatever. And that's not to say that like being on your phone is a bad thing. It's just when it's appropriate. It's called moderation. Do everything in moderation. And a lot of people seem to forget that sometimes. So great job with the story and the concept. Now in terms of performance and settings, I would say the game performed fine. I didn't really have any issues with it. I capped the FPS at 60, and that seemed to sort of take the strain off my computer a little bit, which is good. But we'll go ahead and talk about settings as well. And we have our gameplay settings here, which is our field of view slider, our depth of field, our smooth camera, our head bobbing, camera sensitivity, and our inversion of XY axes for our camera. And we have subtitles, notifications, and then our volume settings here, which is our master effects, dialogue, and music volume. I think these all look pretty great to me. I have no issues with these settings at all. I think these are all pretty appropriate. And then for the input settings, these are all your key bindings, which is pretty small text over here on the right, but that's okay. So you have all your movement, jump, crouch, lean, left, right, run, focus, zoom, use, alternative use, panic, flashlight, next equipment, previous equipment, unequip, inventory, examine item, pan item, rotate object, throw object, main menu, and quick load. So Great stuff there. I assume you can rebind these. We'll go ahead and try it. Yes, you can. So you can rebind all these to your liking if you would like to do that. And you have your gamepad support over here as well. So you have keyboard and mouse and gamepad key bindings here. So that's awesome. In terms of the video settings, I've seen this layout for settings in a lot of different games, and I really like them. So keep doing that. Anyways, you have your screen resolution, which is mine 1080p. You have your screen mode, which mine is on borderless. Your FPS limit, which is at 60. Your VSync, screen percentage, temporal upsample, global illumination method, reflection method. Then you have your view distance, anti-aliasing, post-processing, shadows, global illumination, reflection, texture, visual effects, foliage, shading, and volumetric fog qualities. All these were set to high by default. I don't know if that's smart detection or just what the game puts it on. So plenty of options here to adjust if you somehow have performance settings. So tinker with this a little bit if you do, and I think you will be able to get it working just fine. So anyways, like I said, performance I think is acceptable. No issues from my side of things, and I like your settings. I think the settings are appropriate, and there's a plethora of them to adjust and to tinker with, and I think that's great. So great job there. So based on my first impressions of the exploration mode of Poolside Vigil, my final judgment for this demo is I would say it's okay. Well, I really like the visual presentation, the story, the concept, and most of the mechanics. I think the approach to the audio design is what's really holding this back for me, and I think it could be fine-tuned to make it that much more immersive and enthralling and mysterious and brooding, and I think you have a really solid foundation, but I think the audio design is so important in games like this, and for me, it didn't really come together in a cohesive way, and I think that's a really important thing to get right in a liminal space game. Like I said, this is based on my personal point of view, but otherwise, everything else I think is a pretty solid foundation, and I think you're going to do just fine with this game. So keep up the great work, and I wish you the best of luck on your future endeavors and your work. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree with me? Do you have anything to add? Do you just want to say hi? Let me know what's up. And don't forget to check the pinned comment below for the links to everything, and go play this game for yourself and form your own opinion. And if you'd like to support my channel, hit subscribe, leave a like, comment, and share the video. I'd greatly appreciate that. And I thank you for watching my video. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I think that's all I have to say about it. So thanks for hanging out with me, but don't forget.